you build trust in a virtual workplace? That's a big question, right? Well, I've got some practical tips for you right now. The world of work has gone hybrid. From day to day, you might be engaging with your colleagues face to face or staring at them through a screen or a camera lens like I'm doing with you right now. But regardless of whether you're working with your colleagues in person or in the virtual workplace, nurturing and building trust remains an imperative. So how best to do that in the virtual workplace? Well, by the end of this video, you're going to be armed with my personal definition of trust, as well as 4 practical tips to help you nurture trust with your colleagues through the screen. Let me start with my definition of trust. Trust is strong belief in someone or something. And to take a page out of Esther Hicks' book, belief is a thought we keep thinking. So trust manifests through the thoughts you keep thinking about a person, place, or thing. Let me bring this a little bit closer to home and maybe help you understand it a little bit more. Take a second and think about a person in your life that you trust more than anyone else that you know. Think about that person. See their face in your mind's eye. Now, what is it that inspires that trust in that individual? I'm certain that when you picture that person's face, you have some thoughts around that. That person will always be there for me. I can rely on this person. If I pick up the phone to call them, they're going to pick it up. Because of the words and the actions that that person has consistently shown you, they have created thoughts that you keep thinking or belief in them. For me, it's my brother. He's one of the most trustworthy individuals that I know. I know that if I were to call him in the middle of the night because I need a ride from the airport, he's going to pick up the phone and he's going to be there. The reason that I have that trust is because of all the experiences that I've had throughout our lives. All of the times where I've been able to think that thought time and time again. He will show up for me every single time. So trust is built by consistent words and actions. And nurturing trust amongst our colleagues has become a little bit more challenging in the virtual workplace, but there's still a way to do that even through your screens. So let's dive into those 4 practical tips that's going to help you nurture that trust. The first tip is to state and understand boundaries. You know, as we work in a more virtual way, in a hybrid way of working, one of the best ways to nurture trust is to establish our own boundaries, as well as seek to understand the boundaries of others. And that looks like, what are their working hours, right? I think that the line between work and home has completely been blended as we're working remotely, and many of us are working from home offices. And so stating your boundaries, here are actually the hours that I'm available, and after, say, 6 p.m., I will not check text messages. I will not be checking emails. When you can understand those boundaries and respect them, you will nurture trust throughout your workforce, throughout your teams, and with your colleagues. So go through the exercise of establishing what those boundaries are for yourself, as well as what those boundaries are for your employees and the people that you engage with. They might have a certain hour in the day set aside for family care, maybe picking kids up from school, dropping kids off. Understand what those boundaries are so that you can respect them. Tip number 2 is to discuss and understand the preferred methods of communication. In today's hybrid way of working, where some of us are working remotely, some of us are in the office, and we're using different avenues and different technologies, it's so important to understand from individual to individual what is their preferred way of receiving communication. Whether that be text messages, WhatsApp, that I often call What's Up because it's easier to say and more fun, or email, or having a phone call, or doing a video conference. Understand what is their preferred way to receive communication so that you can actually leverage that avenue. That's going to help with your effectiveness and efficiency, knowing how that person likes to receive their information. Once you understand what that preferred method of communication is, make sure that you're sticking with it. That will go a long way in nurturing that trust amongst your peers and your colleagues. By the way, you're digging this, getting value, at least have your curiosity piqued? Well, make sure you click subscribe or click like or click notification, something that's going on down here. Click something because I make videos like this all the time. I want to make sure that you are getting the value. All right, let's get back into it. Tip number 3, be intentional about setting time for water cooler connects. So what do I mean by that? When we were all working in the office, when we were all working in the same physical space, those impromptu hallway conversations or discussions at the water cooler in the break room were just natural. The environment was conducive for it. And those little times where you're engaging with a peer, with the direct report, with a manager, maybe not talking about the work, but just connecting on what they did the past weekend, what they got going on the next weekend, it creates an opportunity for authentic connection, helping us to nurture and build our relationships and nurture trust with one another because we get to know each other on a deeper level. Well, those opportunities are not as easy when we're in a hybrid working environment. So you have to be very intentional about setting up that time. I invite many of my executives to just take either the first 2 or 3 minutes or the last 2 or 3 minutes in a direct reports one-on-one simply to say, what's up? How things are going outside of the work environment. Or maybe you want to even have impromptu connects. You shoot a text message, yo, can we hop on the phone for 5 minutes? I just want to chat it up, learn how you're doing, what happened over the weekend. Create those opportunities. In the virtual space, you have to be intentional about doing that. But the more that you can, again, you're going to get to know those individuals on a deeper level beyond just the work. And when you can nurture that authentic connection, the trust will grow. And finally, never forget about the power of consistency. Remember, trust is built on belief, and belief are the thoughts that we keep thinking. So you have to consistently act, behave, express words that nurture the thoughts you want your colleagues, your peers, your direct reports to be thinking about you. So understand what those actions are so that you can nurture that trust, whether that be consistently having those impromptu check-ins, understanding what their preferred method of communication is and sticking with it consistently, or consistently respecting those boundaries. The more that we can act in line with the thoughts that we want our employees and those around us to consistently think, the greater that trust will be nurtured. So I know all these changes to the way that we have to communicate, notably in the virtual space, can be draining, can be exhausting, can maybe even inspire a bit of frustration or maybe a bit of anxiety. Well, I've got something else for you. I want to offer you a free chapter of my best-selling book, Change Enthusiasm: How to Harness the Power of Emotion for Leadership and Success. And I want to gift you the chapter all about the introduction to this mindset, how to leverage the power of the emotions you might be feeling as you think about nurturing trust and communicating in the virtual space, how to turn that into a moment of opportunity, sitting in the seat of choice on how you show up, how you navigate, and how you continue nurturing that trust. I want to make sure that you have the research, the data, and the insights to successfully fuel your growth through even your greatest change challenges. I'm Cassandra Worthy, and until we meet again, keep growing and keep rocking.